In this video I will show you how you can change all the belts on a Husqvarna Rider 13. A lot of this information is applicable on the Husqvarna Rider 850 and the Rider 11. So if you have one of those machines, the procedure is very similar. I will write the original part number for these belts in the description. And if you want to use original parts or what they call pirate parts, it's up to you, but use the belt number to find what you are looking for. I'm going to remove all covers just to show you what's going on, but it doesn't mean that you always have to remove these covers in all the steps. For this work you will need one of these spring tools. You will need two 17mm U-ring wrenches. You might get by with only one. You will also need a flathead screwdriver. I choose to use a bit in one of these machines, but you can do it manually. In order to show you how to change this belt here that drives the cutting spindles and the knives, I will remove the cutting deck. It might not be totally necessary to do this, but I feel that if you need to change this belt, you might as well remove the deck so you can inspect all the parts, make sure that everything is in order. You have to have the deck in an up position in order to remove this. Next, you can lower the cutting deck. Next step is to remove these clips that is on the front wheels or at the front wheels. And when these are removed, the cutting deck can be lowered. So there is one at the right wheel and one at the left wheel. Now you can remove this chain from the cutting deck and make sure that you don't let it go up here, because then you have to fetch it, and it's not hard, but it's an extra thing to do. If you were to lose the chain up here, you need to remove this hatch here and put the chain back in the right place, and I will show you when we put this deck together. Here you can see the routing of the deck, and to remove it you would need a tool something like this, and this is to release springs. And I've said it many times, this is a great tool. If you bought a trampoline or something, you might have gotten this. I think this is how I got this one, but you can also buy it, of course. Before you put on your new belt, inspect your old one, check if it's old, if there's damage to it or something like that. Maybe you just need to replace it. You might have a problem with one of these spindles, or maybe this tensioner pulley, and if there's a problem there, it might show itself by ruining this belt. So before you put a new one in, make sure that everything is running smoothly, there's no sound in the bearings or anything like that. All the pulleys are fine, this bearing is also good, and this tensioner wheel looks okay. So and I just changed all of this, so I would be very surprised if there was a problem. Let's put the belt back. Make sure the belt is routed correctly. Then take your special tool. On this Rider 13 and also the 850 and the Rider 11, there's only one belt going from the engine here forward and to the cutting deck. On most of the other Riders, there's also a twin pulley here. So there's a belt going from there up to there, and then there's another belt going from there to the cutting deck. Those are Rider 16, Rider 13 Special, and basically all the modern Husqvarna Riders. When I change this belt here, I want to make sure that that tensioner pulley is not tensioning, which it is now. So I'm gonna take the lever and pull it up. Now the belt is loose, but in order to remove it from the belt pulley, we need to remove this belt guard here. I take this belt guard and I just lift it up on one side and put it back here. I need to remove it on the other side too, but I can just put it like back there. As you can see, there is a gap between this tensioner arm and the engine, so it's possible to just pull the belt out. The last belt we're changing is this transmission belt. It goes from the top pulley on the engine and back to the hydrostatic transmission. And in order to change it, we have to remove this belt that we just removed, the one that goes to the cutting deck. When we're doing this job, I think it's easier to remove the spring in order to let the tension off at the belt. It's a good time to check the oil level now, and you can also lube this grease nipple. And it's only riders up until about 2000 that has this nipple here. The Pro machines, they still have it after. And it's easy to know if you have it, because if you have this lever here that releases the hydrostatic transmission, is like a neutral release. If it's on the right side, this kind of lever, you will have this, and you will also have the Tough Torque K55 transmission. If you have a small ring here on this side that you pull to put it in neutral, it will not have this grease nipple, and it will have the Tough Torque K46 transmission. And these two transmissions they're quite similar. I think this one is a little bit more heavy duty, but it's not a big difference. There is an additional grease nipple in there, but I will lube that after I put the belts on, because I don't want grease on those belts. Putting everything back is just doing it in the reverse order, and since it's getting dark, I'm gonna make a time lapse out of this. Alright, it's all back together, and before I put the covers on, I'm gonna test it. Make sure that all the belts are working the way they should, and then I can just assemble everything. I will show you what to do if that chain that lifts the cutting deck, if you lose that chain up inside the body of the Husqvarna Rider, how to fix it. So you can see the chain coming here from the lever mechanism and going forward and past this wheel and then just down. And if you let the chain go, it will probably just fall down here. But what you do is you take it and let it roll down. So just take the chain and just follow this wheel down and use the other hand to like grab it. You might need to be a second person, but I think most of you will fix it yourself. This is how the mechanism works. You see that axle goes to the lever, and then it pulls the chain to that guide wheel and then forward. Thank you for watching, and bye.